All right, in our next installment of percentages topics, we are going to talk about interest. So another very applicable one that you will see throughout your life. Okay, so we're going to say that I can calculate simple interest. Okay, I call it simple interest. There's two types of interest, simple and compound. We're just going to talk about simple. Okay, so what is interest in terms of percentages and money? Interest is additional or extra money paid or earned from either borrowing or lending. Okay, so extra money you have to pay when you take out a loan, or if you put money into savings, you would get money extra on top of what you're putting in. Okay, the principal amount is the initial amount of money you borrow or the initial amount of money you put into a savings account. Okay, so when is simple interest used? Loans. So like student loans for school, like college, a car loan, okay, a mortgage, which is the same thing as a home loan. So houses, really expensive. You have to borrow money from the bank, and then you have to pay them extra money for borrowing that. What else? So investments. So basically a savings account. Okay, so those are just a few examples of simple interest. There's more. But yeah, so basically a loan is when if you want to buy a couch at Nebraska Furniture Mart, they're very expensive. You can't pay for all of it right now, so you borrow some money and you just pay a little bit at a time, but then they charge you a little bit extra overall. Okay, in a savings account, you put money into your bank to like save it, so to make sure you don't spend it, and then every so often the bank will give you a little bit more money in your savings account based on what's in there, based on what you put into your savings account. Okay, so here's our formula for how to calculate simple interest. The interest is equal to the principal, or the starting amount, times the interest rate as a decimal, times the length of time that that money is in the account for, or times the length of time that you're borrowing that money for. Okay, and then we're going to always make sure that we write the interest as a decimal. Okay, so with your interest rate, the percentage, written as a decimal, you're going to substitute the values that you do know into the formula, simplify by multiplying what you can, and then solve. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Oh, sorry, I almost dropped the iPad off the desk. Here we go. All right, you are buying a car for $18,997. You plan to pay the car off in 5 years with an annual simple interest rate of 5.07%. How much will you pay in interest alone? So I'm going to go and circle my numbers. So this 18,997 That is the principal amount. This 5 years is your amount of time. And then this percentage, this 5.07% is your interest rate. Real quick, I want to point out the word annual means every year. Okay, annual is per year. Okay, so to find our amount of interest, I for interest equals our principal amount, $18,997, times our rate as a decimal. I'll do that over here. So we take our percentage, divide it by 100, which is 0.0507. I'm gonna run out of room. Okay, then times the length of time, which is 5 years. So in my calculator, 18,997 times our decimal times our length of time, 5. Okay, so it's asking an interest alone, so we're not going to add it to the total. Okay, I do have to round this to 2 decimal places since we are dealing with money. So 1, 2, find the place, look next door. 9 is bigger than 5, so I'm going to add 1 more. Everything that comes before to this side, the underline stays the same. That 3 rounds up to a 4. Everything afterward goes away. So the extra amount, just the extra amount you are paying, is $4,815.74. Okay. All right, next one. Sean took out $35,000 in student loans with a 5.8% simple interest rate on the initial amount. How much will his loan be in total after 10 years? Okay, so I'm going to circle my important numbers. $35,000 with 5.8% interest rate. And it's going to be 10 years. Okay, so to get our interest amount, we're going to take the principal amount. Let me highlight these real quick. Okay, so our initial amount was $35,000 times the rate as a decimal. So we're going to take 5.8 divided by 100 is 0.058 times the length of time, which is 10. Let's zoom out. So $35,000 times our interest rate times 10. Okay, so just the interest is $20,300. Okay, to get the total, we're going to take our principal amount. I colored it the wrong color. There we go. Which was $35,000. We're going to add the interest amount, $20,300. So taking out student loans at that interest rate for 10 years, the total he will pay after 10 years is $55,300. Which is a lot of dollars. But, okay. All right. Last word problem. Corey deposited $500 into a savings account that earns an annual simple interest of 8% on the initial amount. How much money will he have after 3 years? So the money he put in at the beginning was $500. So interest is equal to 500 times the interest rate was 8%. 8% as a decimal, we're going to divide by 100. So 0.08 times the length of time, which is 3 years. So times 3. So 500 times 0.08 times 3 is $120. To get the total, we take the principal amount, so how much he put in to start with, which was 500, and we add the interest amount, which is 120. So after 3 years, he will have $620 in the savings account. All right, flip over to the practice. And then go to level 3. I'm going to help get you started on level 3. Okay. Let's zoom in a tad. So make sure on your practice first, before we start, make sure on your practice that you take your time, and I want you to show every step. Even if it's on a different piece of paper, you need to be showing your work, going through. Okay, don't rush. That's when we make mistakes. Okay? So our word problem says you are buying a 2017 Audi R7, which if you don't know is just an expensive car, for $191,150. And you are deciding between 2 payment options, okay? So you're going to find the total cost for each option and then figure out which one is cheaper. Okay, so I'm going to do option A with you, and you're going to do option B on your own. So our interest amount equals our principal times the rate times the length of time. Okay, so the cost of the car is $191,150. Times our rate is 4.83%. So over on the side, I'm going to change my percentage to a decimal. Is 0.0483 times the length of time, which is 10 years. Okay, so I'm going to type all of that into my calculator. 191,150 times 0.0483 times 10 is 92,325.45. Okay. Then to get our total, we take our interest amount plus the principal amount. So we started at 191,150. Add our interest amount, 92,325. 5.45. It's 2, 8, 3, 4, 7, 5.45. Okay, I'm gonna circle it so that I don't lose that number. Whoops. Sorry. So I'm gonna circle that amount for option A so that I don't lose that number. Then you're gonna go through option B and then figure out which one is the less money. Right, that's it. Go through, show your steps, write it down. Even if you need a piece of paper, use lined paper, graph paper, whatevs. Okay, go through, show your work, be methodical about it. Okay, and be organized in showing your work so that you can keep track of where you are in the process. Good luck, have fun.